What's up, YouTube? Sam from Team Top Deck here, coming at you from almost a year now. And today I came in 10th place at the YuGiOh Regionals in Springfield with True Draco. I've been playing a lot of Magic recently, so I haven't been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! So I figured I'd get back in with a fairly straightforward deck. So I chose True Draco, and I honestly I took my own spin with it. I changed up a lot of the tech choices from the current top list. So I'll just get right into it and show you the deck profile. So for the monsters, it's pretty straightforward. You got the 3 Ignis Heat. This guy, if you don't know what it does, you can tribute it by attributing a spell or trap card, and then during either player's turn, once per turn, if your opponent activates a card effect, you can search your deck for a continuous trap or a continuous spell card that is a True Draco or True King card, and either add it to your hand or put it face up. 1 Dynamite Knight, just because it's at 1, and just like Ignis Heat, except that it searches for trap cards. And then I'm only playing 1 Majesty Maiden. I'll explain more later on, but I felt like 1 was the perfect number. I see people playing like 2 or sometimes even 3, and I just think that's crazy because you have like multiple ways of searching it up and recycling it, and I just feel like it's the worst out of all the True Dracos, and you never really want to see like multiple monsters in your hand with cards like Card Demise and etc. So yeah, I'll explain more later on. So those are the True Draco monsters, and then for kind of like random monsters, I'm playing 1 Border and 2 Amano Watto. So this split's kind of weird. I know some people play 3 Amano Watto, 3 Border. Depends on the list. I'm just playing a split in the main deck because I wanted to hedge my bets going second with Amano Watto. Like I still have 1 going first of Border, and obviously like I think Border is better going first. But it stays on the board, and like it still negates like hand traps and whatnot. So yeah, that's the split on that. Those are the only monsters, by the way, so only 8. Not a lot, but like obviously you have disciples and other ways of like searching up disciples to get your monsters back, and it's just a continuous loop. For spell cards, 3-pod duality. Duality is obviously just great at like getting what you need. You look at top 3, get the best one. Nothing much more to say about that. 3 Card Demise. Essentially the reason to play this deck, honestly, like 1 card draw 3 is basically Pot of Greed but better in this deck, and essentially every time I played this card I won the duel. And then for tech choice, playing main deck Monarchs Stormforth. This card was actually really sick today, like against the Thunder Dragon deck, you can like tribute over their monsters by like just using this, and most people don't really expect it, especially in the main deck. Gets you like it's a ton of outs against a bunch of different decks, and yeah, it's just like also a nice little like way to push your advantage by like tributing their boss monster or whatever, and then summoning your monster. And then getting on to like the obvious cards, 3 Heritage and 3 Disciples. So if you guys don't know what these cards do, the Heritage, during your main phase, you can draw cards equal to the number of different types of True Draco or True King cards sent from the field to the graveyard this turn. So if you like pop a Disciples, for example, and like one of your trap cards, you can use this to draw 2. And its other effect is you can use it to tribute summon an additional monster like immediately from your hand. So like let's say you normal summon Amano Watto to like turn off their hand traps. You can also use this effect to summon again. So you essentially just get more normal summons with this card. And then its other effect is then whenever any of these spell cards are just sent from the field to the graveyard, you can pop a spell trap card on the field. So what this card does is you can target 3 True Draco or True King cards in your graveyard, shuffle them back in your deck, and draw a card. It also has the normal summon effect and the destroy aggro effect. So for other spells, 2 Terraforming, obvious, just search up your field spell. It's at 2 now, so like just gonna play the max. 3 Diagram, pretty obvious staple. Like probably one of the best cards in the deck. Search up anything you need, whether it be monster, spell, trap. One of the biggest reasons why I'm only playing one maiden too is because it's searchable and like you only really need one. Probably the best card of the day was Domain of the True Monarchs. You essentially play 3 because you have the double terraforming, and if you don't know what this card does, it's kind of a weird one, but if you control no extra deck cards, which this deck has no extra deck, which is nice, and you're the only player that has a tribute summon monster in your field, your opponent cannot use their extra deck at all, which just like automatically wins the game against a lot of decks. And then also, whenever one of your tribute summon monsters attacks an opponent's monster, it gains 800 attack. So it's a nice little boost over like rather than 300 attack, you can like get over big stuff like Dynamite becomes 3300 for example, and yeah, you guys just become huge. Those are the only spell cards. For traps, you play the obvious split on the True Draco traps. So True Draco Apocalypse, if you don't know what it does, so basically both of these traps, if they're sent from the field to the graveyard, you can pop a monster on the field, kind of like the opposite of the spell cards. And then both these have like different effects that you can use on each player's turn. So the True King's Return, you can use it to target a True Draco in your graveyard monster in your graveyard, and then special summon it in defense position. So that's pretty sweet because like obviously you can recur your monsters and then use those monsters as tribute, whatnot. And this other effect is you can immediately tribute summon during your opponent's main phase a monster in your hand. So this is pretty sick because you can like disrupt their plays obviously by like you flip the trap and then tribute summon your monster, pop their monster as they're trying to do stuff. And yeah, it's just like a great way to get card advantage. So True Draco Apocalypse has the same effect where you can tribute on your opponent's main phase, but the other effect is also like insane in this deck. You can send one other True Draco or True King card you control to the graveyard to half the attack of all your opponent's face-up monsters. So like this is sick because like if they're like they have a big board you're trying to get over or whatnot, you can send like your spell cards to the graveyard to like pop on their back rows and then half their attack, get over their monsters and whatnot. So it's just like everything in this deck kind of like coalesces in a pretty sweet combo deck. And a control deck obviously by like controlling the resources. Imperial Order, broken card, like why not play it? I mean, kind of wins the game against a lot of decks by itself. Skill Drain, and then triple Monarchs Erupt. So Skill Drain is obviously you lose 1,000 life points and negate all the monster effects. But this card is actually like probably the biggest reason I use an extra deck. So if you can only activate this if you have a tribute summon monster and you have no extra deck, but if you have this card face up, negate the effect of all monsters on the field except for tribute summon monsters. So all your True Draco effects still go off, but you have like a one-sided skill drain, and like against almost every single deck that's broken. And then for floodgates, this is probably one of the biggest things that people are like doing weirdly right now. So I'm only playing 1 rivalry and 3 goes a match. For some reason, people playing this deck play like way too many rivalries, even though like it sucks right now. It's only good against like decks that are trying to like use their link monsters a lot, which I feel like goes a match is also pretty good against. Like obviously, goes a match is not great with like your all different attribute deck, but you only really need 1 monster anyways because your monster is probably going to be bigger than theirs. And like against Altergeist, like Goki decks, like any deck, like most decks are way worse off against goes a match than rivalry. Like even Thunder Dragons, like Light and Darks is like rivalry is unplayable, while most decks are playing like 3 rivalry and 2 goes in or less. So I just decided to play less rivalry. Yeah. So on this side deck, I'm playing 2 border. I just wanted to fix the split, so I'm having 3. If I'm going on the play, like I board up to 3 border because I just think this card's busted. So like, obviously I wanted to hedge my bets game 1 for going second. And I got pretty fortunate this weekend because I did end up losing 6 out of my 8 die rolls. So having the Amano Wado in the main was really good, and border in the side is just like really good when you are going first. One Amano Wado, same reasoning on border. I just wanted to like have the split for when I'm going first or second. Like both these cards are busted and negating hand traps and whatnot, and like with some decks playing up to like even 9 to 12 hand traps, being able to shut off like a ridiculous amount of cards in your opponent's deck is always good. Probably another All-Star today. Medion. I only actually drew this card one time the entire tournament, but it won me the duel on the spot against Thunder Dragons. So my opponent just like spends like 3 or 4 minutes wasting the entire turn, like setting up a board of Colossus, Titan, and like this normal Link monster, and I just play Medion, use its effect to bounce their entire board, and then set my floodgates, play a true Draco monster, etc. Pass, and like they just lose from there. Yeah, so like if you're really scared of Thunder Dragons, this card is really good against them. They have like essentially no outs, and it just gets rid of their like fusion monsters really easily. And then 2 Imperial Iron Wall, just like good against Thunder Dragons, obviously, and against random decks. Like if you go up against like the random Invoke deck, you'll like if you draw this, obviously it's gonna be really good there. 2 Anti-Spell Fragrance for like Sky Strikers and random decks like that where like you just want to slow them down. 3 Heavy Storm Duster, just against like heavy back row decks like Altergeist and whatnot. You just want to like have more ways to blow up their back row. And the last card is just like the broken card, evenly matched, wins games by itself. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing much more to say about that. Like, I played against, what was it called? Might have been Altergeist, but I played against a deck and it just like banished 4 cards on turn 1, and they just like scooped on the spot. So yeah, if you're not playing 3 of this card, I would seriously recommend it. So yeah, that was like the that was my True Draco deck from regionals. I highly recommend playing this deck right now, just because no one's really expecting it, and you get to play like almost all the good floodgates, including like 4 skill drain or even more if you include Imperial board or Inspector Border, and then you have Imperial Order and whatnot. So you have answers to basically every single deck. And going first, you can set up a board that's like so big it's hard to come back from. And you get to play card demise, and drawing 3 is always great. So yeah, if you like the video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe, and stay tuned for more.